Have you ever been asked to do the same task twice? Well, in this explainer, we're diving into an ancient text that tells the story of a historian who was commanded to write his people's entire history, not once, but two separate times. And yeah, that raises the big question that's going to frame our whole investigation today. Why on earth would anyone write the same history twice? It seems redundant, kind of confusing, and honestly, just a lot of extra work. So let's see if we can piece this puzzle together. To even begin to understand the why, we have to start with the records themselves, because this is really a tale of two very different accounts. So the source of all this comes from a pretty brief chapter where the prophet historian, a guy named Nephi, explains that he was told to create two completely distinct sets of historical plates. Not one record, but two separate accounts. And here is where it gets really confusing. Nephi himself writes this. He says, "The plates upon which I make a full account, I have given the name of Nephi, and these plates also are called the plates of Nephi." So hold on. We have two different records, but they both have the exact same name. You can already see why this needs a little unpacking. All right, let's break this down. We're going to start by looking at the first set of records, which, we can think of as the secular plates, a pretty straightforward history of the people. These are often called the large plates of Nephi, and their purpose was pretty clear. They were meant to contain a full account of the people, the reign of the kings, all the wars and contentions, basically the conventional secular history you'd expect any nation to keep track of. So, okay, we've got a standard secular history, but now we turn to the second record, the sacred plates, and this tells a completely different kind of story. These small plates, as they're known, had a totally different focus. They were designed to hold an account of the ministry of the people. They were for things that were considered sacred and were made, as the text puts it, for a special purpose. Putting them side by side like this really makes the difference pop. On one side, you have the large plates, a detailed secular history, the full account. On the other side, the small plates, a really focused history of ministry and spiritual matters, the one with the special purpose. Two records, two totally different goals. And here's just another way to see that contrast. The primary content shifts from kings and wars over to ministry. The scope narrows from a full secular history down to a focused sacred one. But the most important difference here is that last line, the reason for their creation. One was simply meant to be a history. The other was for that mysterious, special purpose. And this brings us to the crucial point. We know what they are now, but why? Why was this second sacred record even necessary? Well, Nephi makes it very, very clear this was not his idea. He says, "I have received a commandment of the Lord that I should make these plates." So the reason for this whole second, more spiritual record was a direct divine command. But that just deepens the mystery, doesn't it? I mean, if this was a direct commandment for a special purpose, what exactly was that purpose? And this brings us to the very heart of the mystery. That unknown, wise purpose behind the second record. And this is the line that changes everything. After all this work, Nephi just admits it. "The Lord had commanded me to make these plates for a wise purpose in him, which purpose I know not." Just think about that. He has no idea why he's doing it. Let that sink in for a minute. The person creating this second, incredibly important record was acting entirely on faith. He was obeying a command without knowing the ultimate reason for his work. So this isn't really a story about efficient record keeping. It's a story about obedience in the face of the unknown. So how does Nephi resolve all this uncertainty? Well, he doesn't, really. Instead, he just shifts his perspective, writing, "But the Lord knoweth all things from the beginning, wherefore he prepareth a way to accomplish all his works." His focus moves from what he doesn't know to what he believes God does. And that's really why this matters. This short chapter isn't just a historical footnote about metal plates. It's a profound story about trust, about having faith in a larger plan that you, from your limited perspective, simply cannot fully see. Which leaves us with a final thought to consider for ourselves. When is our own faith truly tested the most? Is it when the path forward is difficult? Or is it when the purpose of the path is completely unknown?